Hello, welcome to another Photoshop tutorial with PSDBox. My name is Andre and today I want to show you how to create this kind of portraits in Photoshop. This is the final result of a tutorial that I made for Photoshop Creative, and it's a Photoshop magazine. But in the end I made something else and I still had this PSD file, so I thought I would make a tutorial for my website instead of just deleting it. So, well, this is the final result, and let me show you the original image, which is this one. And well, I'll show you how I get basically how I made this makeup and how I use the dodge and burn tool and how I use the clone tool to duplicate this rose here. You can see that. And well, let's start again. I'll create a new document. I don't remember the canvas size for this one. It's quite big, but what I'll do is just open this stock image. It's free. You can download it from DeviantArt. I'll give you the link to that, to the image. And what I'll do is just select this part of the image because I'm only interested in the face. And I'll go to Image, Crop, and I'll probably make it even smaller, 500 pixels, because I'm recording the video. So as you can see, the face is pretty much okay. We don't have to make too many cleanup here. Usually what I would do is use the mixer brush tool and just smoothen the skin and use the spot healing brush to remove imperfections, but the skin is pretty much perfect in this case. The only thing that I would like to do is I'll still use the spot healing brush tool because I want to remove some highlights here. I don't know if this is from the makeup or these are just JPEG artifacts. I'll just remove them really quick. So I'm working on the image. This is destructive editing. It's not something that I would do on a normal image, but there are really only a few things that I'm fixing here, so I'm not really worried about destroying the image. So basically around here on the eyes, remove some of these highlights which are too strong. Don't remove them all because that's makeup, but some of them are really too strong, and maybe those are made because when I resized the image, maybe they become brighter. Well, this spot here and this one here, let's make the brush a bit bigger. Well, that's pretty much it. This part here, well, there's not too much work on the face here. I still want to correct this area here. Okay, that's better. Okay, let's go with the let's go with the rose first. I'll show you how to duplicate that and how to make it smaller. And I'll create a new layer first, and I'll name it Rose. Let's make the screen bigger, like so. And get the clone stamp. And usually what you do, let's make sure the flow and the opacity are to 100%. Usually what you would do is simply press the Alt key, click there, and just paint the rose there, right? But what I wanted, you can clearly see that it's a duplicate, so what I wanted to do is rotate that and make it smaller. And sure, you can press Ctrl T, make it smaller, and just rotate it and place it there, but well, I just want to show you something a bit more advanced with this tool. So what you do is go to Window, go to Clone Source here, and from here you can change these settings here. So what you're telling the tool here is if you put this at 50%, usually you want to keep this locked because otherwise you'll make the width smaller than the height, and that distorts the image, which is not what you want. So what I'm telling here is I want to duplicate this, and when you paint that, I want to make it 50% smaller. So make it half the size, but as you can see, it's too small. If I press the Alt key and start to paint here, you can see that it's way too small. So let's go to 70% and try again. That looks better. And what I also want is to rotate that, so let's try and rotate it 50 degrees and try again. Okay, that looks nice, but I want to make the brush a bit smaller. Make sure you have this the hardness to 0, because we want to blend that with the hair. And I'll start from here and paint there, like so. I'll probably move it because that piece of hair is too dark, and I want to move that on the dark side there. So that's how I painted that rose and rotated at the same time using the clone source options. Well, let's move on with the makeup. By the way, the text tutorial is already on the website, and I'll just go there now to show you. On the tutorials menu, on the body retouching section, you'll find it here. Maybe it's not right now, it's the first one, but there are other tutorials here, and maybe I'll add some more, but you'll find it here. And here you will find the explanation. You'll find the same process here. So as you can see, on step 2 I added a gradient map, so let's do that here, just for the sake of following that text tutorial, and also because I don't remember the exact steps. So let's add a gradient map. I think it was this one. Change the blend mode to soft light and the opacity to 30%. I think I used different colors, yeah. Something a bit more unsaturated. And I think I'm on 60 bits format. Let me check that. Nope. Those colors were really bright. But anyways. Okay, that looks a bit better. So before and after. And let's go to step 3. And here I adjusted the contrast a bit using levels. So add the levels adjustment, and let's see the values. 1.05, just add a bit of brightness, and 235 for the highlights. So basically I made the whole image brighter. And let's go to the next step. And here I added just I like to add some this kind of details under the eyes, dots or maybe tattoos and things like that. So this is not a traditional beauty retouch, if you want. It's just a bit more a mix of fantasy retouching with traditional makeup retouching. So I created a new layer. Let's name this dots right, and this is how I made it. I selected the brush tool. Let me set the opacity and flow to 100%. If you have the brush tool selected and you want to increase the opacity, you can do that quicker simply by typing 100 on the keyboard without having to go here on the sliders. And for the flow, I think it was pressing Alt, or I don't know, the combination of that, so you can change the flow as well. I don't remember, it's not working. I just tried Shift, Control and everything else, but it's not working. I don't remember that combination. But anyway, set the flow and opacity to 100%, increase the hardness to 100% as well. And now I have to zoom in a bit and see the size that I need, because I'll start with a bigger dot here and end up with smaller dots here. So as you can see, and I'll have to choose the big brush, something like that. So let's go to 17. It's a bit too big. 16, or let's start with 15. Well, for the canvas size that I have, which is 1500 pixels in width, I'm using 15 pixels, but you can adjust that to your own image. and I'll have to open the brushes window. You can do that from window, brush, or pressing F5. I have it here on this secondary dock, and what I'll do is check pen pressure and set the minimum diameter to let's see, this controls the size of the last dot here. So let me see which one I want, which diameter I need. About 6. Well, anyway, this is percentage here, so it's not going to work. Let's leave this to 15, and we'll have to first select the brush tip shape and increase the spacing a bit. You can see that. That's a good spacing there. I don't need more than that, so 148% in my case. Go back to shape dynamics, check pen pressure, and let's set minimum diameter to about 20%. So 20% of 15 pixels, I don't know what size is that, but we'll see, and if it's not working we will decrease that. And well, what else do we need? I think let's try doing that. So the next thing, once you have the brush set up, you can minimize this, select the pen tool, make sure you have the path selected, and just create a path here, like so, and then add another anchor point there, something like that. You can adjust these points by pressing and holding the Alt key. You can click and drag this around like so, and we'll start from here and we will go here. And once you have this path, right click and choose stroke path, and from this drop down list select brush and check simulate pressure, but you have to make sure that on the brush there you have the control set to pen pressure, otherwise it will not work. And click OK, and you can see that it's not working because that's not how I made it and I forgot. What I did instead of using the pen pressure is set this to fade, and you can see the effect there. You can see that it fades away the dimension, and it fades it until it goes to 0. So what I want is increase this to, let's see, to about 20%. So because I don't want it to be really small. I don't want to be to 0. I want the last dot to have about 5 pixels. So I'll increase this to, let's say, 20%, and I'll have to decrease this this fade amount. Okay, that looks okay to me. And once you have the brush ready, select the pen tool and make sure you have this set to path, and just draw a path under the eye like so. And if you press and hold the Alt key, you can modify these points here, make a smooth curve like that. Let's put this point here and something like that. And once you have the path ready, right click and choose stroke path, and you'll get this new window, and from this drop down select brush and deactivate simulate pressure and click OK. And now you can press delete to delete that path, and that's how I created those dots. Maybe these ones are a bit too big. And now just change the blend mode of this layer to soft light, or you can try overlay, but I like soft light. I don't like it, it's a bit too strong and a bit too curved, but anyways, I can modify this just a bit like so. Okay, so that's how I added those points there. Let's see the original image. I have more spacing between them, so they look a bit better. and maybe I'll decrease the opacity a bit. And for the other one you can do the same, or you can simply duplicate the layer and flip it horizontally and place it there, and you can create a layer mask or use the eraser tool and just mask these points here. But first choose another brush, a normal brush, and just mask those points there. And you'll have to rotate that because it's not looking too nice. And then place them higher. Okay, something like that. That's how I made those dots there. Let's go to the next step, which is the makeup. And well, let's see how to make the makeup. I'll create a new layer. I made this in 2 steps. One for the top makeup, so to say, and one for the under the eyes. Let's name this makeup 2 and get a soft brush, and let's see, size something like this, a bit bigger, and I'll set the blend mode of this to overlay. And well, let's choose a color. The color that you choose from here is not really important, because what's important here is to choose the right luminosity value, so how saturated and how bright the color is, that's the important thing, not the color that you choose from here, because we will use a hue saturation adjustment later, and we can adjust the color to whatever you want. So I'll choose this one and just paint like that. I'm not even worrying about going over the edges. I'm just painting like that. And okay, and now I'll create a layer mask, and I'll get the brush tool and mask the areas that I don't want, but I'll use a low opacity to about 40% and just start masking this. So it's a lot easier to paint a big area like that and then just to delete the areas that you don't want, than trying to go and follow the lines and not touch the areas that you don't want. So just paint a big area like that and then just mask the areas that you don't want. And for masking, it's good to use a bigger brush and just paint with the soft part, mask with the soft part of the brush, so that you have perfect blending. And I'll switch colors to white to bring back some of the color here. Oops. Paint with black here. And for this area here, I'll use a hard brush, and I can increase the flow and the opacity, because now I'm on the safe zone. I don't need any kind of effect here, so I can really remove that using a hard brush. Let's do the same here. Now let's reduce the hardness and increase the brush size just a bit, reduce the opacity to about 40 or 50%, and just make multiple passes. It's a lot better than using a high opacity brush and just making a lot of mistakes. You can gradually reduce the effect where you want, and just switch colors if you need to bring back the color. Anyways, I'm not a good makeup artist, so that's not my field, so to say, but I just wanted to show the technique. And I think this is a quite easy technique to apply makeup. Now let's go with the bottom part. Create a new layer, and let's name this makeup. Well, this one should be makeup 2. And let's create a layer mask right away and do the same. Select another color. Let's select this one and change the blend mode to overlay again. Increase the brush size, increase the opacity and the flow. It's too big. Something like that. Paint that area and this area. And now if the color is too strong and you don't like how it looks, you can choose a darker one like so, but I kind of liked that one, so I'll leave that there. As I said, we will change this using adjustment layers. All we need now is the area that is painted, so there's something I don't like here. I took away too much color and I didn't like how it looked. Well, and now just do the same here. Mask the areas that you don't need. Use a bigger brush. I'm switching colors pressing the X key. It's a lot quicker than going here. So if I make a mistake, like for example this, I'll switch back to white and bring back the color, and then go back to white pressing the X key, to black, sorry, pressing the X key, and continue masking. We'll still have this area here. Well, make the brush a bit bigger. And make sure you have the layer mask selected. Okay, so now that's our makeup. It's really strong and not looking too nice now. But well, I still need to remove some color on the eyes there and here as well. Okay, now we have this step, which is step 5, and on step 6 I'll explain you how to refine this makeup, and here is where I use those adjustment layers. So what you do is apply, let's go with makeup 1, which is the top part, and add a hue saturation adjustment and make it as a clipping mask. So press the Alt key and put the cursor between the two layers and create the clipping mask, so that we only affect the top, this layer, the makeup 1 layer. And all you have to do now is play with this sliders. Let's go to 100% zoom. And just select the color that you like and reduce the saturation or increase it, decrease the lightness or increase it. So at this point you should not have to change the blend mode, but if you need to do that, leave the lightness to 0 and try other blend modes for the makeup 1 layer. Let's try soft light if you want a softer effect. And just try the colors that you need for your model using the hue saturation slider. I liked that green here, maybe a bit more unsaturated and a bit darker. Of course, you can also change the opacity of the makeup 1 if you think the color is too strong, and sometimes even desaturating it, it's still not looking nice. So it also depends on the color that you chose when you made. If the color was too dark and you'll see that it's too dark here, you would maybe want to use levels or maybe decrease the opacity here. But that's why I chose a color that was close to the 50% value here, and that way when I use the overlay, if I desaturate this, it has almost no effect here. So let's leave that there. And do the same with makeup 2. Go to hue saturation, create a clipping mask, and let's see a color that will, you can see it's too saturated, so I'll decrease the saturation, and let's try a color that looks nice. Well, green, it only looks nice with orange, but well, anyways, let's leave it there. As I said, I'm not a good makeup artist, but anyways, that's how I made the makeup. Maybe I will add a bit more saturation for makeup 1 to make it stand out a bit more. Then you can also enhance the eyes. I didn't change the color. I just used hue saturate. I used the dodge and burn. Sorry. So create a new layer. Go to Edit, Fill, select Overlay. Well, the blend mode is not going to change it here, so just select 50% gray from that list and change the blend mode to Overlay. Let's rename this to Eyes Enhancer, and get the dodge tool and use a soft brush, increase the size a bit, and let's try an exposure of about 20%. And on this layer you can use a dodge tool to bring out this part of the eyes, the inner part, like so, and also here. As you can see, I'm using a low exposure value and make multiple passes. I like to work that way to build up the intensity rather than using a really strong effect and then just messing up. So that way I can see exactly how much amount of effect I'm adding. And now let's switch to the burn tool. Increase the exposure to about 20% as well, and decrease the brush size. And now you have to go on the edges, and also here and here, like that, and something like that. So maybe the effect is too strong, so you can see the before and after. I kind of added too much effect, but anyways. With the dodge tool you can also enhance these catch lights here if you have them. They really look nice on the eyes. You can add more dimension, more depth, and certainly make the eye look more interesting. You can also use this layer for enhancing the lips, especially the highlights on the lipstick and on the lips themselves. So use the dodge tool to, you can see that you can add volume to the lips, and also this lines here, you can enhance those. This is a technique that's used a lot in manipulations, adding this kind of highlights on the edges of the lips. I saw a lot of artists doing it, and I started to do it myself, but I'm not really good at it yet. But anyways, and let's use the burn tool on the edges that we have shadows, but we need to decrease the exposure quite a lot. Just add some shadows. Okay, so let's see before and after. So just check the eyes and the lips. So before and after, again before and after. So it's a quite significant change. If you want to change the colors of the lips, you can use a hue saturation adjustment. Where is it? Hue saturation. And the first thing I'll do is pump up the saturation, or maybe change the hue. And I'll use this this layer mask to fill it with black. So press Alt and Backspace to fill that with the foreground color, which you have to set to black, or you have to go to Edit, Fill, and choose black from here, but make sure you have the layer mask selected first, and it's not working, so you have to press Alt and backspace, and that's a lot quicker. And now we don't see the effect because we masked the entire image. Just get the brush tool, select the layer mask, switch the color to white, and use a soft brush, and let's paint on the lips. Now we can see the effect showing, but only on the areas that we paint with white, like that. You really need to be careful here because a lot of people screw up on the lips using hard edge brushes, and well, you have to be really careful here. Oops. Maybe use a bigger brush and just paint with the soft part of the brush. And even if you take away some of the effect on the edge, we will decrease the opacity of this layer and it's not going to be that visible. And now that we have this area ready, we can reset this and just make our own color and our own changes. So you can use the slider here. Let's make the lips a bit something like that. Desaturate this, you can make them darker, and let's try the soft light blend mode, and you can see the effect that it has. Maybe desaturate this a bit. Let's set lightness to 0 and just try other colors. I kind of like this one. So we made her look as a Barbie doll, but well, you get I just want to show you the technique, then you can do whatever you want and make your own effects. It's not really realistic, but for a kind of a fantasy makeup technique, I think it works nice. Okay, let's go with those diamonds here on the eyes. Open this stock image. I took this photo myself on a piece of paper. I just placed that there. Let's wait for it to open, and well, I'll get the magnetic lasso tool and just make a quick cut here. Well, actually I will use the marquee tool, the elliptical marquee tool. I'll place some guides here in the middle of it and press Shift and Alt at the same time to expand the selection from the center and move it here. I don't want to grab this metal pieces here, so, and now well, actually let me see the original image. Yep, so press Ctrl X to cut that, close the image, and I'm going to paste that here, and of course I'll have to make it way smaller, like that, and even smaller, like so. I'll rotate it a bit because this part is a bit brighter, so I want that bright part to be on the top, because as I can see the light is coming from that direction. I can see that shadow there, so I'll place that here. And before I duplicate that and make the other ones, what I'll do is rename the layer first, and I'll add some layer styles, some shadow, a drop shadow like that. You can also even change the color of this if you want. You can choose color overlay and maybe choose green and change this to color, and you can change the color of that. Or maybe let's try soft light. Well, soft light will not work. Just choose the color and blend mode if you want to change the color of the jewel, but I'll leave it like that. Maybe I'll increase the saturation a bit, so something like that. Or, well, of course you can use the hue saturation, maybe it's quicker than using layer styles. But since I added that drop shadow, I thought I could change the color from there as well. So, well, that's one jewel there, duplicate. Well, let me sharpen it as well, because when I resized it, it lost some of the sharpness. So I'll go to filter, sharpen, unsharp mask, set the radius to 0.3 and the amount to about 92%. Well, it looks it's too sharp, so let's leave it as it is. Let's duplicate that, make it a bit smaller, move it there. But for this one the shadow is too big, so I'll reduce the distance and also the size. I just need a bit of shadow because it looks too flat if you leave it like that. But if you add that shadow, it looks a bit better. And the last one here. Just let me reposition these ones. Well, that's how I added those jewels there. I'll merge them because I want to make them a bit darker. So I'll use levels. So I select all of them and press Ctrl E to merge all the layers, and I'll use levels to make them a bit darker. Okay, like that. Now you can duplicate that layer and flip it horizontally, make it smaller, place it there, and use a layer mask to delete these ones. Duplicating this is not looking too nice, as you can see, so you probably have to do it manually because it will look a bit better. So it's worth spending some time doing that, so I'm gonna delete that. So do the same for the other eye. Well, so that's how I got this this effect. I think it's a cool effect if you want to apply it on your portraits. I hope you like it. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.